Welcome to part 13. At least I got that bit right. Anyway, building the middle wing. Well, this is I had to read it and reread it. Locate the middle wing front and lower middle spars. Parts assembled earlier. Referring to the plan, dry assemble R1 ribs into the front, middle and lower and rear spars, MLWRS and MWRRS. Dry assemble the two angle ribs RM2 into the front, lower, middle spars. That's these two. These are at an angle. But, you know, they're telling you to get this far. Sorry, this far here. But really, I had a bit of a problem with this because I had to take it all apart, and I'm quite happy to do it again. Just very, very, very carefully take this into pieces. Now, and I'll tell you where I struggled. First of all, getting this RM2, these are both RM2, into place was a bit tricky. It does go in, but you got to be really, really careful. And then when it now that I've got them in properly, when it came to putting in the top of the spar, because obviously those two are angled there, these two notches. Where's my finger? There you go. When you come to put it on, right, they don't go straight in. You have to sort of twist them ever so slightly, which is not a very comfortable thing to do. And so twist it, there you go, and it goes in. So now you've ended up with that, which is okay. But they've told you to dry assemble everything else, and now you've got to take everything else off to get that in. So my suggestion is go as far as that, put your RM2s in, then put this in, and then the rest should come with it. And then obviously when you come to glue it, you know, you got that going on, so you got to press that down and then glue it in. So that's where we are with that. This MWLTE2, that got me confused, but it looks as though you put that there or something like that. I don't know, one or the other. And then you put this part on top. Now, so that should go something like that. Okay, that's the way I'm reading it, and I've got to double check that because something doesn't seem right. Maybe it does, and I'm gonna have to fiddle around with this for a bit because it's just yeah, I think that's how it goes, and I'm desperately trying to get it into my head. I mean, it's a bit like the Krypton factor, but I think that's like that. I think that's how it goes, like that. I hope that's right because I'm intending to glue that in. Anyway, so that's where we are with this. Now I'm going to crack on with the rest. So these middle wing, lower something EL. Anyway, that goes there. So I'm going to pin that down because I know that's right, and then work backwards from there, and at least that's not going to move. And I'll see how I get on, and then I'm going to dry build this, and when I know it's right, I will glue it together. Now I'm encountering a problem here with mwcs. Now, according to the instructions, you have to put this upper spar in, taking care with these two ribs here, which is fine, that's okay, they will go in. Alright, now to get these parts in, you have to bevel that end in there like that, which is fine, but they advise you to put this in at last. But when you come to put this MWCS at the front, right, I'll have to change the camera angle, but it don't fit. And as I said, there's a lot of things on here that are exact fits, so I don't understand why that doesn't fit. These two leading edges are in exactly the right place to the drawing. So what is it that's stopping it? And I don't know. I can't quite figure it out. So this part of me wants to bevel the other side of that, which means taking all this out again, which is okay, that's fine. By the way, they haven't come across S1 yet. I don't know what that's about yet. So I don't want to glue anything till I know what I'm doing. Now, take this out. Yeah, it sort of lends itself to either chamfer this or chamfer that. And I begin to think maybe I ought to chamfer it. And I just wish I could telephone the people who made this. You go, how do you make this fit? Because once you get it apart, these fit perfectly. They fit perfectly. So there's something going on. Everything else is to the line. So I'm not quite understanding why that is how it is. So what I may do is slightly chamfer these to allow them to go slightly wider apart, and then maybe that will drop in, because it's just getting a bit silly now and I'm not quite seeing what the reason is. But anyway, the truth will come out. So here we are. I've managed to get this MWCS to fit, and the only way I could do it was to chamfer this inside edge on the leading edge here, yeah, and here, and then either side of MWCS, take a few thousandths of an inch off there and there, and then it drops in. So what I've got to do now is start wicking in this center line here on the middle rib along there, so it seats down. And then once I've done that, what I'm going to do is wick in this last rib, which then allows me to put this end in here, and then it should all start to come together, and I'll put these parts in last. I'll put S1 in for now. There's a spacer that goes in there to check that it's okay with the gap and everything. I haven't located that just yet, but yeah, that's where we're going with this. So let's see what happens after I put some glue on it. So I mucked that bit up there, so I've had to cut it loose and re-glue it. Had a bad join here, but I've got some shavings, stuffed them in with a knife and glued them in and sanded it down. So a lot of this has been sanded down now. So then they ask you, right, you now have to sand down this leading edge here of MWSD, so that when you put the leading edge, I don't know what they call it actually, the 132 that goes over, yeah, so this is the same profile as this here. So I'm about to do that next. I've sanded off this edge here, this edge here, just so it's uniformed, Gone around all the edges. Oh, there's a little bit there actually. See, a little bit of finger work. There you go. That's better. Just run your fingers over it to see if there's anything that feels sharp. So again, we've got a little bit there. That's all it takes. Yeah. Oh, a little bit there. A bit more actually. But ultimately, you need to go around the whole edge, outside edge, because you need to get that browning off. So that bit of browning there, just left on, you need to get that off, because when you come to put the skin on, it's not going to stick as well and it will wrinkle up. There you go. And that feels not too bad. Maybe a little bit there. Where was it? There it is. It just takes that just a little bit, you know, you haven't got to go mad like a lunatic. A little bit there. Yeah. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's okay. That's a bit. Actually, I think that's probably glue. But yeah, and then you just go over your finger over the ribs, and then that's fine. So, copy now of what we did with the top wing. So I'll get the leading edge out, 132, and we'll start that. Well, that's turned out quite well. I actually left all that in place for 2 days because I've been busy with work issues and so forth. That's just kept me busy. And as you can see, it's, you know, it's almost there, isn't it? So it's just a case of really getting in there. Just think I'll bring that up to you a little bit closer. Yeah, it's all. I'm not going to go quite as far as saying you don't need to glue it or anything, but it's pretty much there. Pretty much there. I think what I need to do is what do I do with glue? Here we are. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change that tip. And what did I do with my tips? Oh, they're around here somewhere. I'll change that tip so I've got a nice fine tube on there. And let's have a look. Is it easier to go from underneath or try and get it from that way? That's a good thought, isn't it? Let me see if I can find my tips. Yeah, there we go. Put a brand new tip on. So pop that over the top. Let's get rid of anything that's on there because I don't want to glue the darn thing to it. Press it on. Yeah, there you go. I reckon that should be alright like that. Okay, let's have a go at that. Excuse the pun, I'm totally winging this. Is it better to start from the middle? Probably. Probably. Let's have a look now. Try and do this and keep this in camera at the same time. As you probably noticed, a little bit difficult for me. Yeah, I think I'll try it from this angle first just to see how we get on. So I'll get some glue through. Come on, yeah, nearly at the end there. I don't want this glue going absolutely everywhere. Right, there you go. Let's hold it in place. I only need it for a few seconds because, as I've said a few times, it's because it's soft balsa, it's absorbent and sticks almost instantly. And in some places, you know, you don't want that to stick instantly, but I think in this case you more or less do. And that seems to fit in quite well. It's pulled the rest of the 132 balsa for even further into place, so I don't know how many times I can put the glue in from that angle, but yeah, so we let that go, see what happens. Yeah, that seems to be okay. Yeah. That one's pretty close too. I don't know if I can I get in there? I don't know. Let's see, it's getting from the side there. See the glue going down the tube. That should be in. So now I'm pressing on that. It's difficult to do these videos sometimes, you know. You're trying to see what you're doing, and at the same time you're semi-conscious that what can the viewers see. And I know that on several occasions I've had my hand in the way, and you can't see what I'm doing all the time. But as you know, as I always say, you know, this is not a professional setup. It's just total amateur, which obviously shows through. But I'm always sort of, you know, you get some of these people on YouTube, and they've got this whole setup. They've got all the lights and the mics and everything else, and even they get it wrong. But at least, you know, this is just a guy in his workshop doing what he can. Certainly no film star. Let's try that again with this rib here. So I don't know whether you can see this or not. It's difficult, isn't it? Can you see there's a slight gap there? So I'm going to push this glue in. So the only trouble is doing it from this angle. I can't rightly see what I'm doing myself. But it does seem to meet that ridge. It's like a ridge on the front of the rib for that to seat into. Just noticed something there. It's a bit untidy. A bit of fluff of balsa. You can fill in gaps, by the way. Everybody makes gaps here and there, and I've often found the best way is to find some scrap balsa, rub it across some glass paper, maybe some coarse glass paper, and make some dust, and then pick the dust up, fill it into the gap with applying glue into it, and then it almost becomes like the wood itself. Let's have a look. Yeah. Okay, so the next one will be here. So we've done that one. Looks like we've done that one. That one. We'll do that one last. See how good my memory is. Oh, I'll tell you what I did do today. Oh, well, not today, last night. My favourite tipple of an evening is grouse whiskey, and I like to mix it in with a ginger ale. If you do it with ginger wine, I think they call it that's a horse's neck. Do you know what? The name escapes me. Horse's neck is brandy and ginger. So it's a whiskey mac but that's, as far as I know, that's with ginger wine. So whether that counts as whiskey matte with ginger ale, I'm not quite sure. But a whiskey matte with ginger wine at Christmas is actually quite nice. Anyway, I'm quite fussy about my my ginger ale, and I tend to find that I like Sainsbury's, and I like to use the Asda's Own full fat, of course. I can't drink diet. It doesn't taste right. It just tastes synthetic. And I like the real thing, if I'm being honest. But can I say Schweppes? I used to like Schweppes, but the Asda one and the Sainsbury's one is just a little bit sharper, and I can't get any. And I thought, oh, I'm driving around trying to get this stuff, and I thought to myself, why don't I just go online, order it online? So I did. Lo and behold, they're going to deliver it today between 12 and 1 o'clock, and I thought I'd spend more money in petrol, because well, the price of petrol at the moment. And so, because nobody's got it on the shelves, and then it suddenly occurred to me, maybe they haven't got it on the shelves because everybody's ordering it online, so they're taking it off the shelves. So I thought, well, I'll order it online, and lo and behold, I will have my prize between 12 and 1. Maybe this is the way forward. Mind you, I prefer to actually go to the shop and take it off the shelf myself. But there again, marketing, they like to position things, don't they, in supermarkets, where it's called impulse buying. You do a lot of impulse buying, and it tends to work, because when I do go to the shops, I generally come out with about 5 or 6 more things than I actually intended to go in and buy. There's a particular kind of bread that I like to use, and not everybody sells it. And I go into Sainsbury's, and it's always on the bottom shelf. And I'm a very tall guy. I'm 6'3" tall, so I generally find myself on the hands and knees looking for the in-date bread, and the fresh bread's always at the back, because I want to push forward the ones that are about to go out of date to the front. So there I am on my hands and knees, a guy who should be retiring and overweight and unfit, and then I grab the bread, read the date, then and then it's like looking at Bambi trying to stand up. It's not a good sight. Anyway, here we are. We're going to put, I'm nearly at the last one, but I'm just doing this to show you what I'm doing, because you may think of a better way of doing it, or you may try this yourself and go, no, that's not for me. But this is the only idea I've got at the moment. I mean, obviously I'm not going to force you to watch the left-hand wing, or the left-hand side of the wing, I should say. But this seems to be working for me. I will turn it around in a moment and have a look at my handiwork and see if it's worked okay. But I just think it's invaluable to have somebody build these things and then show you how they did it. And we're all going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. There you go. So it's worth watching these just to see the mistakes, so you don't have to do them. Yeah, it's quite funny because what's that American thing? The pickers, something pickers. We go around barns and sheds and looking for stuff, so you don't have to. I'm like, why would I do that anyway? I show truckers, we drive through the snow, so you don't have to. I don't want to drive through the snow. You have to be off mental to do that. Or very hard up for money, I don't know which. Anyway, not distracting from their courage. They're obviously very brave people. Right, so we're coming to this, back to this centre one here now. What's it, RMC? I think it's marked up as. Now, let's see if we can get this right. There's obviously this part here. So I think what I'll do, I'll put a bead of glue down here and at the same time along here, but if I don't press it down right, it ain't going to go right. Let's give it a go. Let's try it. There we go. I'll just realise that that's not properly shut. Yes, this probably is the most problematic one. I will quickly show what I did and making sure that this is in shot, just in case it hasn't, the video hasn't grabbed it. I think I need to put some, this is the edge where they ask you to chamfer it down to suit the profile of this rib here. And obviously you don't want to press too hard on the other side, because what you'll do, you'll dent this part here, which I'll show you again. Okay, that looks as though it's stuck down. Is it taking all right? Yeah. Oh, see, already I can see that pressing down has put that little ridge in there, but you could probably push that back. Yeah. That's taken. So what I did, just in case you didn't catch it the first time, I put glue in here, yeah, then I turned it round, put glue along here, and then on the end there, and then just wrapped my finger around like that, and it's taken first go. And I think that's probably more luck than judgment. So that should be. Let's see if I've got all the ribs, because it's quite difficult to see. I think I did this one, pretty sure I did. Wouldn't hurt to put a little bit more in, just to make sure. Things do come unstuck, you know, sometimes. Yeah, pop some in there. So now I know they've all got some glue in there. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss one. So that's what it looks like from the underside. There's your leading edge, which obviously needs sanding down. Let's have a look at that part there. I can't decide whether that's, I think what's happened here is that the glue's filled it in, but that'll soon show itself when I come to sand it. And there's your top. Looks something like that. Do I have enough time to do a quick sand? Can you stand it? You might be able to stand it with bandit, I don't know. This is an 800 grade. And I always find all you got to do really is just be fairly light but even along your edge. Got to be careful, because you know this is only 132. You can go all the way straight through it if you're not careful. But it does help to shape the profile of the wing. Some people try try and turn these things into a bit of a science. And there's no real science to it. It's just got to conform to the shape, that's all. Let's give it a blow. Let's have a look. Yeah. I mean, it is glued. I wonder if my super duper magnifying glasses are. Hang on a second. These are my super duper magnifying glasses. They just pop over the top of my normal glasses. Let's have a look now. Because my eyesight isn't what it used to be. Yeah. We could fill that in. Probably fill it in with glue actually. I'm going to hurt it. And just rub my finger down it. In fact, where is the glue? I mean, really, I'm just using the glue as a fill-in. There you go. This is the first, well, on this model, it's the first time I've used these little tubes. And I have to say they're quite good. Where have you been all my life? Just let that go off. It won't hurt it. And you use it as like a filler. I could have got some dust and probably rubbed some dust into it, but there again I probably would have rubbed all the glue about all over the place. So what I'll do is I'll let that go off. I'll do the left hand side of the wing, and I'll come back to you and I'll probably end this part 13 and prepare to do the bottom wing. Now, oh, there is something I did following the instructions that I need to show you before I forget. They ask you, let's see, I've got something pointed. They ask you to put a groove here, which is marked on the wood, and a groove here. They don't tell you how deep to go. So I've gone about 2 millimeters approximately. Obviously I need to take a little bit out of that as well. And that is to take the cabane once this goes onto the fuselage, but it's not very descriptive. You don't know how deep to go into the wood, which, you know, you're having to guess it. And I don't like guessing. They really should give you a better description, I think. That's the only real thing about these instructions. Some parts are okay, and some parts are a little bit vague and could be better written. But anyway, let me get this half done and I'll sand it down. Well, while I was making this part of the video, here's the guy turn up 5 minutes early. I was impressed with that, except I ordered 15 of these and I got 5. So now I'm going to spend the rest of my weekend arguing the toss. Right, so here we go, back to the subject. So what I didn't show you was me just gluing these tips in. I glued them from the underneath all the way along, and those stuck down okay. And sanding down using my 800 grit, and obviously I've taken the edges off here so they're a little bit flattened. Gone along the leading edge. Now you might see these gaps here. I could fill them in, but the film will just run over the top of them, so there's little point really of filling any more in. I've put some glue in there already. So this is pulling, the glue is pulled there where I've had the tape on it, so that's something to be aware of when you make yours. Went round, put my hand over everything, just sanded off everywhere twice, sanded off this bottom bit here. I can't get it absolutely flat, which it should be, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. what I did note was in the drawing they show this part here being slightly over this slot. I didn't need to cut this, it didn't reach it, yet all of the 132 has met the front of the ribs. So that's something that didn't fit exactly, which surprised me because everything else has. I'll probably need to go over this once more, but that's about it really. So that's the wing done. We've got the slots in the back, even though they don't tell us how deep they are. I don't know whether when it comes to fit them in or not, whether I can, because I haven't read the instructions that far yet, whether I can take this wing off and cut them in deeper if I need to or not. I have no idea until this goes on, which is unfortunate, but you know, there you go. So there we are. I will be posting my videos on the, there's losing the will to speak English again. There is a vintage model company, there you are Cliff, I didn't say club, vintage model company Facebook page, and I'm starting to put these videos on there. I've had no reaction from them yet, so they must have seen these. It'd be quite interesting to know what they say. Actually, I would welcome their opinion. It's kind of nice to open up a dialogue. Anyway, there you go. So that's the middle wing, 99.9% finished, because I'm just going to do this bit here, and we will move on to the bottom wing in part 14, which I hope I will remember is part 14. And there you go. Any comments are welcome, just be polite about it, and I do actually reply to every comment. Thank you very much for watching. Keep the faith, and I look forward to seeing you in part 14. Cheerio.